mens 1500 er med kvæster. Internationale forskere har fundet spor af sprængstoffer i ruinerne af World Trade Center. I en ny videnskabelig artikel får det forskerne til at konkludere, at det formentlig ikke var sammenstødende med de 2 kaprede fly, der i 2001 fik World Trade-tårnene til at kollapse. Niels Harrit, du har sammen med 8 andre forskere lavet den her artikel, hvor I konkluderer, at det formentlig var stoffet nano-thermit, som forårsagede sammenstyrtningerne i de her bygninger.
Således at nano-thermitter både kan virke som noget, der giver en masse varme, men det kan også virke som et meget, meget effektivt sprængstof. Faktisk er der mere energi i nano-thermitter, end der er i almindelige sprængstof og dynamit. Og man kan også bruge det som raketsprængstof, så det kan bruges til det hele. Jo. Vælter med smeltet metal ud af det sydlige tårn flere minutter inden. Og det er et tegn på, at der er en proces inden selve sammenstyrtning, hvor man har svækket hele strukturen. Og så kommer der mere konventionelle, regulære sprængstoffer ind til de der. Selve sammenstyrtningssekvensen skal være enormt godt synkroniseret. Altså det er jo en hel række sprængninger, som man kan se hele vejen ned, når tårnene styrter sammen. Det her, det er kun det sidste søm i kisten. Altså, fordi, som sagt, det er ikke the smoking gun, det her, det er the loaded gun. Og antallet af mennesker, som indser, at World Trade Center bliver revet ned, de vokser med tusindvis om dagen. Det er ikke noget, du bare sådan kan stoppe. Så.
Du har arbejdet i flere år, fordi det her, det har undret dig.
Ja, over 2 år faktisk. Det var da jeg så bygning 7, som er den 3. skyskraber, styrte sammen. Da jeg så den første gang, fordi den styrtede ned 7 timer efter tårnene. Og der var altså kun 2 flyvemaskiner. Så når man ser sådan en bygning på 47 etager, 186 meter høj, styrte sammen på 6,5 sekunder, og man er naturvidenskabsmand, så tænker man, what? Og så skal man lige se det igen. Og så skulle jeg se det igen, og så trykkede jeg på knappen 10 gange, og munden røg længere og længere ned, fordi for det første havde jeg aldrig hørt om den bygning før, for det andet var der ikke nogen synlig grund til, at den skulle styrte sammen på den måde. Den styrter fuldstændig sammen, så der siger den sådan på 6,5 sekunder.
Deze gebeurtenis heeft nooit veel aandacht gekregen en ook Denny Jowenko heeft er nooit van gehoord. Zijn reactie op de beelden die we laten zien is onbevangen.
Dit is controlled demolition.
Zeker weten?
Zeker weten. Er is nagesprongen. Dit is in opdracht gebeurd. Dit heeft een team gedaan van experts.
Maar dit is ook op 11 september gebeurd.
Dezelfde dag?
Dezelfde dag.
Dezelfde dag? Weet je dat zeker?
Ja.
Was het zeker weten de 11e? Dat kan geen waar zijn.
7 uur nadat de World Trade Center naar beneden viel.
Ja? Hebben ze hard gewerkt.
Vice President Biden.
Yes.
Yes, I'm Jeremy Rothkushow with WACLA Media.
Jerry, if I had your hair, I'd be president.
Yeah, you might be. You can have some. I got enough to go around. So it seems like with the kind of work that Esperanza and communities around the world are doing in terms of rejuvenating themselves, we could all rejuvenate our communities. So I want to ask you about the role, the foundational role of restoring the rule of law has in terms of rejuvenating our economy, because there was a recent scientific paper that came out, I don't know if you know about it, but it basically is conclusive that the World Trade Center was blown up by very high advanced explosives, and it should have been the continuing to be the very highest news story right now. So my question to you is, when are you and President Obama going to ask the Department of Justice to start a criminal investigation in terms of who produced this advanced nano-thermite and who put it in the World Trade Center? And if you all are not going to, yeah, you check it out.
See the report.
And if you all are not going to do that, is it possible for we, the American people, to trust you with our economy if we can't trust you with restoring the rule of law?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
What do you mean, yes?
You can trust me.
Are you gonna do an investigation?
Everybody.
Sir, are you part of the treasonous cover-up of 9/11, or are you gonna help clear this up? Vice President Biden, this is about treason under Article 3, Section 3 of the Constitution. What?
Well, my second guest this evening is Manny Bedillo from the New York City Coalition for Accountability Now. He joins us now from New York. Many thanks for being with us here on France 24. Now, your organisation is campaigning for a fresh investigation into the September 11th terror attacks. Tell us why.
Well, basically, when it comes to the only public inquiry into the events that took my uncle's life and 3,000 others, what we find is the U.S. government has told us a story that conflicts tremendously with the physical, scientific, corroborated evidence that we could all find in the public forum. 60% of the commissioners said that they were lied to, that we did not get the entire story.
Are you saying that you don't believe Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden were behind the attacks?
I do not believe Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda were behind the attacks. The evidence doesn't point that way. Al-Qaeda is a database of mercenaries that the CIA kept in the 1980s and 90s. Osama bin Laden was working for the CIA, as per Sybil Edmonds, a whistleblower who testified to the 9/11 Commission, but her testimony never got out to the public, said that Osama was working for the United States government up until 11, and look how conveniently he's worked for us since. I don't even know if the man's still alive. I do know that for the past 5 months, I've been reviewing, along with so many others throughout the world, that the scientific, peer-reviewed, and refereed study put out by Stephen Jones and Kevin Ryan and 8 other scientists from here in Europe have proven that there are highly engineered, military-grade explosives found in the debris of the World Trade Center. This corroborates the hundreds of first responders and firefighters that said they heard explosions and bombs going off in that building. Now, how did Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda get in there and do that?
What would they be hiding in that building?
I don't know.
What do you think? In your wildest imagination, what do you think?
Well, in my wildest imagination, I find it very difficult that those buildings could fall at the speed of gravity without being assisted in some way. And I used to do demolition for a living. And how could those buildings fall as fast as I used to free fall out of an airplane? I mean, if you took a billiard ball and dropped at the height of the Twin Towers and you just merely stopped it and started at every floor in free fall, it would take over 1.5 minutes to reach the ground. The buildings were down in 10 seconds.
So you think it might have been something inside?
I think that most definitely our government has not been honest with us. I think, and here's the big point I make on 9/11. Why is it off limits to talk about it? Why is it off limits to question and ask questions? You know, when I went through UDT SEAL training, I was taught in demolition, Larry, that there is no dumb question. That if you don't understand it, it's not dumb. And that's how I've lived my life. And I have a lot of questions that the government refuses to answer.
I am Major General Albert Stubblebine. I am retired Army Major General. In my last assignment, my last command, I was responsible for all of the Army's strategic intelligence forces around the world.
Okay, so on September the 11th in 2001, what hit the Pentagon?
I don't know exactly what hit it, but I do know from the photographs that I have analyzed and looked at very, very carefully, it was not an airplane.
What made you believe that?
Well, for one thing, if you looked at the hole that was made in the Pentagon, the nose penetrated far enough so that there should have been wing marks on the walls of the Pentagon. I have been unable to find those wing marks. So where were they? Did this vessel, vehicle, or whatever it was, have wings? Apparently not, because if it had had wings, they would have made marks on the side of the Pentagon. We pride ourselves with the free press. I do not believe the free press is free anymore. It's very expensive. It's very expensive.
A lot sooner than most people realize, 9/11 is going to blow wide open. The official report doesn't stand up to scrutiny. It's very simple. Any trained academic, anybody with any critical thinking skills at all, can read the official report and read David Ray Griffin's refutation And the report just falls to shreds. Now, anybody who's willing to live with that report as the official record of the most important event of our century has no business calling themselves an intellectual or a teacher or anything. I mean, it's that obvious.